Having an LLC means that every dollar saved on taxes is a dollar that you can reinvest. Tax write-offs let you turn normal business costs into legal savings. When you track deductions early, you avoid that chaotic scramble in April. In this video, I'll be going over 5 write-off strategies that you can use inside of your personal LLC. We'll also be covering how to use each one to get the biggest amount written off on your taxes. This focus is specifically going to be on practical steps that you can start applying today. By the end of this video, you will know exactly where to look, what records to keep, and how to claim each deduction with confidence. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the very first deduction we'll be talking about in today's video is the home office deduction. This deduction basically converts personal space into business savings. If you have room in your home, apartment, or even rental facility, and you use that room strictly for your LLC work, you can write off mortgage, rent, and even interest and utilities basically from the overall cost of maintaining and owning that space. One of the things you'll need to do for this is measure the square footage of the room and by your home's total square footage to find the business percentage. Then you'll apply that percentage to eligible expenses and record the numbers in a simple spreadsheet each month. Make sure to keep photos of the workspace and copies of bills to back up the deduction if you're ever questioned on it. Use a simplified option if the room is small or record keeping feels heavy. This offers a flat rate per square foot, and either method will ultimately lower your taxable income and boost cash flow without extra spending. Now, the next deduction we'll be talking about is vehicle and mileage deductions. If you find yourself driving for client meetings, making supply runs, or even bank deposits, these can add up quickly in terms of gas or maintenance costs on your vehicle. For 2025, the standard rate here is expected to hover just around 65 cents per business mile. Log every trip in a mileage app or a paper notebook, noting the date, destination, purpose, and starting and ending odometer readings for each trip. If you're commuting from home to a regular office, this does not count, so you can skip those miles if you're thinking about trying to record them. If you choose actual expense method instead, save receipts for gas, repairs, insurance, and depreciation, and then ultimately apply them to your business use percentage. Make sure to pick one method here though and stick with it for the full year in order to avoid any headache. At tax time, you can go ahead and total your business miles or your actual costs and enter the figure on your Schedule C. The savings here can be substantial, especially if you drive often for your LLC. Now, the next big deduction we'll be talking about is the equipment and technology deduction. This includes things like laptops, cameras, printers, and even specialized software suites. Technically, these all qualify as business assets. Under Section 179, you can deduct the full cost of most equipment in the year that you buy it, up to, of course, the annual limit set by the IRS. If your total purchases exceed that limit, bonus depreciation lets you write off the rest in the same year. Keep dated invoices and note how each item supports your LLC's operations. Make sure to record serial numbers and store proof of payment in a cloud folder so nothing gets lost. When tax season arrives, list each asset on Form 4562 and double check those totals against your bookkeeping software. This rule turns big purchases into immediate tax savings instead of spreading them over several years. The ultimate result for this is lower taxable income now and more cash to fuel growth. Another big deduction that you can take is your retirement contributions. Contributing to a retirement plan gives you a double win here: future financial security and a tax break that you can take advantage of in the current moment. As an LLC owner, you can open an SEP IRA or even a solo 401k and deduct contributions made before the tax filing deadline, including extensions. For 2025, a solo 401k lets you contribute up to $23,000 as an employee, plus up to 25% of net business income as the employer portion, capped at the annual IRS limit. An SEP IRA is simpler to set up and ultimately allows up to 25% of net earnings, also ultimately caps, but it does have no employee deferral option. Make sure to track each deposit date and keep brokerage statements in your records folder. Also, don't be afraid to use things like bookkeeping software to categorize the payments so they flow directly directly onto your Schedule C or your Form 1120S. These deductions ultimately lower your taxable income dollar for dollar while building long-term wealth. Even small monthly contributions compound quickly, so make sure to start as early in the year as cash flow allows for you. Another great deduction that you can take advantage of are things like health insurance premium. This is basically like paying for your own health insurance, and it can feel extremely heavy, but thankfully the IRS has an option to lighten the load here. If your LLC has no other health group plan, you can deduct 100% of premiums for yourself, also for your spouse or your dependents. This deduction goes above the line, which means it lowers adjusted gross income instead of being an itemized expense. Make sure to keep monthly statements from the insurer and cancel checks or bank records that show payment. Enter the annual total on the Schedule 1 of Form 1040 and link the figure in your bookkeeping software for easier tracing. It must be in your LLC's name, and you cannot take the deduction for any month you are eligible for employer coverage elsewhere. This deduction with a health savings account to stack even more tax benefits and build a medical emergency fund. Basically, consistent documentation turns rising health costs into a reliable write-off that protects both your wallet and your well-being. Now, speaking of bookkeeping, one of the things I would highly recommend you guys get started with some of the best bookkeeping accounts is something like QuickBooks, which you can get the best price available with that link down in the description. Also, if you guys don't have an LLC already existing, I would highly recommend that you guys start one. Two of the services we're about to talk about. The first of these is going to be LegalZoom. LegalZoom has some really solid options for LLC formation, especially if you've never made an LLC before. They have a super easy to use service. I would highly recommend using that link down in the description to get started with them. If you guys have any questions about these deductions, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. Also, please remember, I'm not a tax advisor, and I'd highly recommend you talk to somebody that is a tax professional before trying to take advantage of any of these deductions. Also, please remember that the links down in the description are affiliate links, and we could financially benefit from them at no extra cost to you. Though that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys in our future videos.